Welcome everyone to the second session we're holding here on social media. It is again wonderful to see a full house and people standing at the back. There's a couple of spare seats around, but I don't think they're actually spare. People are coming back into the room. Yesterday we talked about Facebook. Facebook was on stage with us here talking about branding and selling on social media. And today we are looking at three social media platforms. The first one is Twitter, but the chair is empty. So we know how hard it is to find your way around your first ATM. So she will be here, I'm sure, at some stage soon. Jessica is from the Nest, which is at Trip by Wyndham in Dubai. And what is the Nest? It's a co-working space. Jessica will explain that too. And for those who know, everyone must know in the food scene in Dubai, Sally Prosser, my custard pie, who is one of the true professionals in this whole region, not just UAE, in the whole MENA region. She is exceptional. I know I'm embarrassing you, but when I was choosing people for this, I wanted to make sure I chose the best of the best so they can share their information with you and they can impart to you their knowledge, and you can take away immediately that today and use that in your personal life. Just interesting before we start, so you can take another minute, is I just came from the media conference for the Jordan Tourism Board. And it was interesting. They undertook an aggressive, that was his word, an aggressive marketing strategy. And it increased their tourism numbers by 15%. And do you know what the focus of that marketing strategy was? Was social media. No, their focus was social media. So it shows you if it's used correctly, it can work. If you use it incorrectly, like anything, it doesn't. And so today we have two people, and we hope a third, who are all experts and know how to make their platforms work. So now, Jessica, I'm going to move over to you. This is the little clicker. And Jessica's going to give just a little mini presentation. Sally's chosen not to do one. It was optional for each speaker. And then I'm going to ask the panelists questions, and then we'll take a Q&A from the audience. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Apologies for those standing at the back. There's not enough seats, but I can tell you it's well worth standing and listening to our experts. So let's over to Jessica Edwards.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me? Oh, that's loud. Yeah, hi. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jessica Edwards, and I'm the curator of Nest Co-working Space in Barsha Heights. I just want to first off say thank you, Shane, for inviting me to speak today. And also thank you all for your time. I know there's a lot to see here. So we have about 3 to 5 minutes to do a quick presentation. So I'm going to do an overview of maybe 5 takeaways. Hopefully there's some new information in here that you can find of value for your company and your products. So my topic is mastering your social media via LinkedIn. And so LinkedIn is all about value exchange and social capital. Why is everyone on LinkedIn? LinkedIn is for professional growth and opportunities. That's the purpose of the platform. And the value exchange that happens on LinkedIn can be broken down into 3 categories. So industry knowledge and expertise is one currency. Professional event sharing and workshops is a second. And third are inspirational or advice for aspiring professionals. That's typically what you see shared on LinkedIn, and that's an organic way to grow your influence on the platform. The other big one is social capital. We all know that a lot of the really great quality jobs and opportunities come through your network, not so much applying online. So it's really important to make an effort to grow your networks on the site. So I'm going to break it down into 5 easy steps. You might be already doing some of them, but hopefully there's a couple new things to help you along in here. So step 1 is your profile. Raise your hand if you are on LinkedIn. Okay, great. So LinkedIn, you want to represent your best professional self. The first question you should ask yourself is your profile polished? Is all of your information accurate and up to date? And do you look like a trusted source? Is your picture warm and welcoming? And is it something that if you post and people go to your profile, they're going to trust that you're giving them up-to-date information? I know when I go to a website and the website's outdated, I'm not really inclined to take on all that information that they're trusting. It goes the same along for your profile. Make sure that it's updated. A simple way to do that is on LinkedIn, if you put a clever or interesting tagline underneath your name or in your summary, it's a very great way for people to be interested to learn more. It also increases your search in the SEO. So I have an example here. If you read Glenn's tagline is "Cut me and I bleed content." It's kind of weird, but it's clever enough that you can tell he's into social media and you might want to read more. And so that's a good way. The other one, right now, blockchain is super popular. I can't go a day without hearing blockchain. So you can change your tagline to say blockchain enthusiast, and you will pop up in a lot of the searches that people are doing right now for blockchain. It's an easy way to stay relevant if you just update your tagline or your summary. Step 2 is to be active and not passive on LinkedIn. A lot of social media is just outputting information, but you're not needing to get engagement back. On LinkedIn, to build proper social capital, you have to do the two-way exchange. So that is one, accepting connections, but also sending invitations. And this will organically build your audience and keep your network engaged as you keep growing your audience. The second, more important one is curating your network. So it's really important to take time to search for like-minded professionals that are sharing content or they're industry leaders that you want to learn from. This is an easy way that you can generate content and share with your network. I know a lot of people, say that they're too busy, but if you commit to once a week just trying to connect with someone that you read an article on or they've shared a post that you really like, this is a really great way to guarantee that you can reproduce content, because then they'll start popping up in your newsfeed, and it's a quick and easy way to grow your network. One tip that you may all already know, but some people don't, it is really, really important to personalize all of your invite requests. The caliber of your effort and the custom messages you do will produce the caliber of your network. Really high-level leaders appreciate this and usually will not accept a generic connect with me LinkedIn. If you send them a note that says, "Hi, my name is Jessica. I just read an article you did. I'd like to follow your progress in your work. Thank you so much." 95% so far, I have a success rate with making sure that I take the time and effort to give people a proper custom note using their name. A little goes a long way if you're willing to make the effort. Step 3, so be a resource of valuable information. Out of all the social media, LinkedIn is definitely the one that people are there to learn, they're there to share, and they want to grow professionally. So just make sure whatever you're sharing is of value to someone professionally and not just a generic post like Facebook where people are like, "Look at the food I made, it's great." So an easy way to do this is whatever field you're in or whatever hobby you're interested in, ask yourself, what are you an expert in? What can you share that other people have piqued interest in? And I have a perfect example. So Chris Morgan is an attorney in New York State. And so once a week, he will post a generic he will be info sharing, basically. So this post says, "Almost every year, the New York State budget includes a big change for employers. A few years ago, it was the introduction of New York paid leave. This year, it is new requirements related to sexual harassment and discrimination." So what he did is he started very general and hooked the readers, because all employers in New York have to worry about this. and then he leads with a invite to listen to a webinar that he's hosting and provides the information. This is a really great way to engage folks organically. The big thing that I find that people ask how to start really building their influence on LinkedIn, a easy thing is if you can't generate original content or you don't have a graphic designer or cool images, you can start by sharing relevant events in your neighborhood or in your network. If you find a really great event that you're attending, when you share that, it's basically associating yourself with that quality of an event or quality of an article. So that's a very easy way to at least get started by sharing if you're stumped with trying to figure out what you can do on your own. Step 4, this is simple, but it's really important. Be generous and share every single week. So I'm in the startup world with entrepreneurs, and collaboration is the new competition. You cannot get anywhere in this world anymore by keeping all of your information private and saying that, it's pay to play and you're not going to give out information unless someone pays you. That's not the world we live in. Media and information is accessible, so you need to be generating content, and if it's not your content, share a colleague's or share even a competitor that's a quality brand. It's really worthwhile because not only are you increasing your exposure on your network, but you also then get the networks of those people that you're tagging or sharing. And it's a ripple effect. So it's really important because it increases your visibility and reach on LinkedIn. Another tip, it's regardless if you're in the Middle East or Europe or the US, if you post midweek, that's the best time to maximize the coverage and engagement for your post. It's the strongest lifespan of a post is typically Tuesday or Wednesday. And last quick tip. So step 5 is what I call the triple threat for social media posts on LinkedIn. At the very minimum, every post should have the 3 following criteria. 1 starts with a general update or question to your network. 2 is a picture or a video, so something visually appealing, because as you know, LinkedIn is really content heavy in the news feed. So if you have a very colorful picture or a lot of people, something engaging, it breaks up the news feed and you get a lot more traction that way. And 3rd, and most important, is always have a CTA, which is called a call to action. So in your post, you should always be guiding people to either RSVP for an event or tag a relevant influencer. Right now, if anyone knows who Gary Vee is, everyone's tagging Gary Vee because he's like the Ellen DeGeneres of entrepreneurs. He's always positive and tells everyone they can do it. So it's a really important thing to have a CTA and not just be talking to talk in your posts. And people will share it and like it and engage a lot more on your content. And I think that wraps up my 5-minute limit.
I think it does.
So that's about it.
Thank you, Jessica. Please, I'm just going to move it on to the next slide. And our 3rd speaker has turned up. It's your first ATM, so yes, I know it's easy. Come on, Archan Singh, all the way from India, to speak, who will talk about Twitter later. So I'm going to ask the first question while I'm getting this set up over here. LinkedIn is really important, and I say if you're involved in this region, you have to have it. And I'll give you 2 examples. 3 years ago, after my appearance at ATM, I was invited by Air Canada on their inaugural flight from Dubai to Toronto, and I was the only media on board, and I was social media. And how did they find me? LinkedIn. And earlier in this year, I was invited, and I've just accepted to give a keynote speech about travel and tourism in Latvia. And the person who saw me speak 3 years ago in Netherlands. How do they find me? LinkedIn. So it is an extremely important avenue. So I'm going to start now while I'm up here, while I'm just changing this here. I'll also remember, while I'm getting this set up, is that use the hashtag. We are all... let me just get this. Sorry about this. We are all... No. Sorry, I don't know how to move this on this. This is a different version. Someone can come up here and help me move this. We're going to start with the questions. Each of these questions you answer to your relevant platform. So it's Twitter, it's LinkedIn, it's Instagram. First question, how often should you be posting on your social media platforms? Archana, since you've just come in, tell us about Twitter.
Okay, I'll start. Can you hear me? Okay, I'll start with a basic background.
Push it close to you. There's a bit of noise. Yep.
I'll start with a basic background on Twitter. Please spare me for 2 minutes. You know, Twitter is a very different... Am I audible? Okay. So Twitter is very different from Facebook or Instagram per se, whereas other mediums, they are majorly used as a broadcast medium where you are kind of communicating in a one way. Twitter is more about a conversation. It is more a topical platform where, you know, if you have any complaint or if you want to talk about a good experience, you put it there. And also the shelf life on Twitter is very small. It's 9 seconds, you know, like, and then you are lost somewhere. So that's why the number of times that you need to be present on Twitter has to be higher. So minimum is like 5 times. You have to tweet minimum 5 times. If you have, say, a user base of, say, 10,000 to 100 million, then it has to be between 5 is the minimum and 34. So that is the number of times that you should be tweeting every day.
LinkedIn shelf life is a lot longer. If you do a really great post that keeps getting shared, it can be up for about 3 weeks before it dies off. As my quick presentation went, LinkedIn is really about valuable content. So it's not so much about how many times you're posting, it's what you're posting. You can post minimum a week to every single day. There's people that I follow on LinkedIn that post every day, and it's always quality content. So they keep increasing their followers. So it's really more about having valuable information to share that people want professionally, or it helps them with opportunities like job posts. So minimum a week, but it's really more about what you're posting versus how many times.
Hello, is that working? Yeah.
Yeah, close.
I'm Sally from My Custard Pie, and you can find me on Instagram at My Custard Pie. How often should you post on Instagram? Well, that's a really good question that nobody can tell you the correct answer. You have to find out for yourself a bit. It used to be you could post every day. Some platforms like fashion post about 10 times a day, but it's what their customers want. They want to see latest styles linked to their shopping pages, etc. The one thing you have to do is quality content. Obviously, it's all really visual with Instagram, and your images have to be absolutely astoundingly beautiful, but not just beautiful. As with any social media, and Archana, you said that Twitter's a two-way thing. Well, all social media has to be a two-way conversation. So I'm going a bit off topic now, but it has to be, you've got to think about your target audience first. It's not about you, and I think brands make this mistake all the time. Oh, look at us, look at us. Just forget about you. It's all about them. So that's back to how often you post. You have to be consistent, though. If you're posting 3 times a week, make sure it's 3 times a week. Use either the built-in Instagram tools or a third-party tool to see when your target audience is online and work out the best time to engage as well. And now the algorithm is showing people not just recent content, things that are 3 days old. I know with my own posts, it depends on when I post, what I post. Sometimes it's really unpredictable. But you see a first surge and you think, you can see it take off. And then some posts just gain traction. And, I haven't posted for 3 days and you can see it build and build and build. And if you've got a quality following and you're engaging them, the different comments coming in will keep boosting that post. But others, it'll just stop. Literally, you get to a certain figure, no more. It just stops. So, and again, some of it's to do with hashtags and other criteria as well. But yeah, quality content, think about your target audience and keep it consistent. And we haven't even spoken about Instagram stories, but that's another topic.
Yeah, that is indeed another topic. Just something interesting. Terry Kane from Facebook and Instagram gave a talk in the main theatre earlier today, and he said there were 4 things that Facebook did for travellers, and they were inviting inspiration. This is what Instagram provided, making memories, tips for travel, and uncovering gems. And that was what Instagram view as the value they add to travellers in the industry. Did you want to say something on that?
Well, my 3 pillars, you should be helpful, you should be inspiring, or you should be entertaining on everything you post on any platform. And if you can, all 3. And that sort of fits into travel really well.
Very much so. You mentioned the importance of engagement, and everyone has mentioned it. So we'll take it in any order. We can maybe start this way and head backwards. Sorry, Jessica, you're always going to be in the middle here. You're always going to get second. Engagement is critical on every social media platform. Without engagement, you're just talking to yourself, just like talking to a mirror, and no one's going to answer, and it's not really much worthwhile at all. So how do you... engagement is obviously important, but how do you encourage such engagement on your individual platforms?
Well, talk to people. I see, again, a lot of brands, they make a huge effort about putting up quality content and obviously maybe paying an agency to do all this hard work for them. But someone comments and it's tumbleweed. They don't respond to it. You have to, if you have someone comment on your post, be there. I mean, again, Instagram on the algorithm rewards you. So before you post anything, you want to start just going, either on the explore page or through hashtags, go and look at what other people within your arena are doing, whether it's competitors or other travel bloggers, someone who is interesting, someone who looks like you. Go and have some conversations directly before you post. Then hang around. Once you've posted, as I say, go and talk with some more people, leave meaningful comments. Over 3 words, I believe, is optimum. Don't just put that looks yummy on, whatever. Add value again. Ask a question on other people's platforms. And then if you're lucky to start getting some engagement, answer it straight away. And that will feed the algorithm. I even go in, if people have liked my post to start with, I look at the likes and then I'll go in to those first few people who have liked it and I'll just go and see who they are. And if I think they're genuine followers, I'll go and comment on, you give and it's give and take, and it's a lot of give and it's very time consuming. But that's what you've got to do.
It is. I'm just looking at Sally's, and one of the many reasons I chose you on this panel is not only do you have 29,000 followers, but you answer all your comments. Yeah, every comment is answered, and this is something, it takes time. I answer every single comment as well, and yes, it takes time, but you have to do it. I mean, you have to appreciate the time someone has taken to comment, and you do it. And something else very interesting, the description of the Instagram page is trusted food and travel writing. And we talked about the idea of trust and authority yesterday here with Facebook and Tom Ottens from Create Media. That video has been filmed, so it will appear somewhere on the ATM YouTube page at some stage. But have a look at that, the importance of trust. And I know that Sally does have a lot of trust in this community. When she was introduced, you heard the people who are in the industry who know what she does, they applauded. And that is very important. So you need to have that trust. And part of the way of earning that trust is to appreciate the people who comment, and you've got to respond back. And it's going to take time, yes, but who said it was easy? So I just want to back that up. Okay, over to you, LinkedIn. And I know you are extremely good on LinkedIn at generating this engagement. Jessica's here. The Nest is a co-working space. So someone like me who works remotely, or someone like Achana who works remotely, and there's a few in this room, will go to the Nest, a co-working space. You can pay an amount. You have a day or month, and it's fantastic. They've got food, meeting rooms, phone call rooms, this nice lounge to sit back on. And so the whole point of that, to get people in, has to be through engagement. It doesn't work without engagement. So engagement is critical to your success. So how do you do it?
Thanks for the plug for Nest. The first day is free, so you can all have a day pass if you want to come and try it out. I've been very lucky where, as curator of a co-working space, it's all about collaboration in the shared economy. So everything that I post on LinkedIn has to be inviting and inclusive. And I've noticed that that not works only for me, but the influencers that I follow on LinkedIn, it goes the same way that they're paying it forward, or people say, send the elevator back down, and be helpful. So as long as you're adding value and being helpful, and your content is really making you an influencer in the sense of you're saying, hey, I just went to this great workshop, or you should attend this event for professional development. That, again, is really what makes you a lead person on LinkedIn, being collaborative, and collaboration is the new competition. So that's really where it is.
Okay. Why we are talking about engagement, we have got the traditional media all the time. So suddenly why engagement is so big for social media? Because probably this is the only media which gives you the freedom to engage with a person, and especially in a market like this where 88% of the people are online, and you have an opportunity to get a real-time feedback, to interact with them. That's why engagement is really important when it comes to social media or when it comes to Middle East. And because you're getting the response at the go, so there are few strategies which I do and which other brands also do. So I'm just going to list down the 4 or 5 things that I do. First thing is trending. Nowhere you can get it. It's only on social media. You go to the hashtags, you see what is trending. So if you participate in the conversation, you suddenly become a part of the whole community where people want to listen to you. So that is one way of building an engagement. Second is, tagging people, people who have got sizable number of followers or fans. So when you spoke about the quality of the content, I think that is important across. If you are speaking quality content on whichever media and you tag somebody and they have like huge fan following, so if they see it and they retweet it, so the number of impressions you create, the number of likes, shares, that increases. T-Bex Island, so it was there last year. There were around 600 influencers. They created an impression of around 4 billion. 4 billion is a huge number for a conference which was just for like 2-3 days. So for a week, okay, at max. So that is the power of social media, and how they were doing is because it was topical. They were, kind of tagging all the businesses which were there, and it was trending. So when people were, even the people who were not there, they were also retweeting it, sharing it. Other thing is, there are so many tools by which you can schedule. So if there are certain events which are going to come. For example, everybody knows ATM happens at this particular time. So start talking it beforehand, and that's how you increase the engagement. That's how people get to know about you. So these are some of the things which I do, majorly those two.
Yeah, I just want to say something. Read that conference. I'm actually conference director of that conference, and it was interesting. We don't know what the measurement period was. It was Fulcher Island, and they measured 4 billion impressions for a online travel media conference with 650 participants, and that was, we weren't sure how long they were measuring because they didn't actually tell us. But at the end of the conference, they said that they had received 4 billion impressions, 4 billion. And I know that during the Twitter chat that I run, TRLT, in a normal week, in a 3-hour period, 1 hour before, during and after chat, we get 10 to 15 million impressions on Twitter. So Twitter is an extremely powerful platform. But as you've said, you've got to keep on there. Twitter's the hardest work. Of all of them, Twitter is the most intensive. So if you're going to be on it, you've got to spend a lot of time.
Yeah. There are 2 more things I'd just like to add to that. One is, threads are very important on Twitter. You might have posted sometime 2 days back, and if you think it is still relevant, and if you add to that, its value increases versus like having a separate tweet. If you have threads, it always works better when it comes to engagement. Twitter chats. This is the untapped potential. Like Twitter chat is something because everybody who's engaging with Twitter chats is a person who is already bought over that idea, is already engaged. He is a potential buyer. And now brands specifically in the US market, they are woken up. So if you'll see a lot of chats, and I think Sane also does one of the biggest chat which generates 10 million impressions in a span of 3 hours. That's the potential. Like, how much can you reach? 10 million people, just every week. So those are the 4 or 5 things that, if you keep in mind, you could have a strategy. Remember, Twitter is different from the rest of the social media channels.
Yeah, it is. And since we're speaking about impressions, let's generate a few here. On the board here, which I forgot to mention, you'll see Sally, Archana's, and Jessica's Twitter handles and Instagram handles. I'm not sure about... is that your Instagram as well, Jessica? Nest is Dubai. And there's mine. And, of course, use ATM Dubai. They love it when they start trending in the Middle East. So please use the hashtags. I'm monitoring it now. So, no, I'm not playing Candy Crush, in case you're wondering. I am monitoring in case anyone does mention us in this, and I will respond as people who sat here yesterday know I respond to every tweet. So since we're talking about content and the importance of engagement, one way to get that is the visual media. And I'm going to ask all of you this. As social media has developed, it's become more and more visual. It was writing initially, then it became photos, and now it's video. And now it's live video. So it's changing the whole time. So let's talk about the importance of visual content, which will include Instagram, of course, because as you said, you can have really average photos or spectacular, beautiful photos of food. So we're going to start with, well, I'm going to start with Jessica this time, just because we don't want to have you second every time. So talk about the importance of the visual element in your in LinkedIn, Twitter, and of course in Instagram.
Sure. So for LinkedIn, I don't know if everyone knows, but they've recently introduced videos. This wasn't a capability before to do the live feed. And so I've been tracking it, of looking at the impressions that videos do versus imagery of just photos. I still think images are, for now, better on LinkedIn, quite honestly, because the audience that's on LinkedIn is different than Facebook. They're not sitting on LinkedIn all day long. They're professionals. They want to get an update, or they want to like and comment and be done with it. So for right now, the impressions for just doing a very eye-catching image with the post and tagging people and getting the impressions that way seem to still be a better reach than the videos. That's only soon to tell, though, because everything is constantly evolving. So who knows if they make it more snippets.
You know what was really interesting? I attended the Dubai Air Show, and I went on to the Fly Dubai. They had the 767 MAX. And I did a video and I put it on LinkedIn. They call it native video. Directly uploaded video on LinkedIn is native video. It's better than linking to YouTube. Just a hint. All social media platforms, all of them rank more highly content linked, uploaded directly to their platform instead of linked. So I linked it in, and it had thousands of views. And you know where the views came from? They came from other airlines. I could see who was watching. It was all these other airlines who were interested in buying the same plane or about to take delivery. And it was fascinating. So I think if you do the right video, but I think at the moment it's a slow burn. It's taking a bit of time to get there. But it one day will match, I think, some of the others. But at the moment, I think, the photos are still very strong. Archana.
Okay. Video is very, very big in the MENA region. In fact, it is the highest growing market in the world. Yes, MENA is the region which has the highest growth market. And in terms of viewership of videos, it is second to US only. People like to watch videos. People like to see pictures. So, if you put a post with 4 pictures on Twitter versus just do the caption, you will get far number of retweets and like if you have a picture. So definitely, if you want to capture the attention, do it with video or picture. This line has been there forever. A picture speaks louder than 1,000 words. It is definitely true. And specifically in the MENA region, it is very, very important. So yeah, for Twitter also, it's very important now. And even Periscope. Periscope it gives you a freedom to record whatever time you want to record, or have a video of 140 seconds. So go for it. It really does well.
Well, where do I start with imagery on Instagram? This could be a while. So obviously quality content, beautiful images. But you see people do this, don't you? Tap, 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 tap. you're going to get some likes out of that, but people aren't going to then go and look at your account if you're on Explore. So they do need to stand out as well. So when you're looking, it's not just that beautiful sunset. Maybe there's something that someone thinks, oh, I need to have a different look at this. So something surprising, and that's in the feed. People make a split-second decision whether to follow your account. So you need to make sure that when they look at the whole thing, that all your images look really nice together. So whether you use a filter, all my images on my Instagram is taken on my phone. I use my professional camera for other things, but not for Instagram. But I do edit them, and you'll find that everyone uses an edit, the same editing format, so that everything looks the same. A color story is a very good editing app, that, especially for travel, because it makes it lovely and bright. There's some beautiful filters in there. Snapseed's a good one. So that's, say, on the feed, and obviously video, yeah. Check out someone called Xanthi B if you want some real inspiration for how to do some fantastic video on Instagram. Then going on to live video. Instagram at the moment is prioritizing that, so you are likely to get a good take-up. So that can show the behind the scenes of your brand. You don't have to be so formal, but people like connecting with people as well. So if you can sort of build up a person, if you had someone who took over your Instagram every week and did a little tour of bits of your resort, or again, it's about that adding value, really letting people see inside what you do. And then Instagram stories, that has better engagement than the feed now. So again, you can be a little bit more casual about it. But definitely at the top of Instagram now, you can put archive, you can put little archive, like a highlights reel of your Instagram stories. And people put little icons so you can see instantly. So say if you were a resort that had masses of water sports, I would definitely, put one little icon, water sports, and, a bit of a professional image. So again, it's another way to sum up your proposition in your feed. I think that's probably it. I could go on.
Yes, you certainly can about this, because it's a really interesting area, and I mean that in a nice way. Have a look at Sally's feed. You'll notice there's a lot of greys in your palette, isn't there?
Moment.
On the colour. At the moment, there's greys. I vary. If you look at my feed, which is the last one, I have series of 6s, and each 6 is a certain colour tone. Romania is green. Ireland, well, is green, of course. I just did Cambodia. That was grey. And some, for example, if I do Kenya in Africa, because I'm based in Kenya, that is very earthy colours, because that's environment. So I move that, and so
that's clever.
So have a look at so when we choose a series over at the Travel Camel, we choose 6 photos in a series. We don't necessarily choose the 6 best photos. We choose the 6 photos that look best together, and they are not always the same photos. So just be aware of that on Instagram. We're going to come to a very important question now. I'm only got 2 more to ask before we turn it over to the audience. Of course, Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn, all social media, it's all about ROI, isn't it? The return on investment. What do you get back for all that effort you put in, all those hours? You're flicking and commenting and liking and retweeting and sharing and all these other things and creating content. So how do you measure it? How do you go about measuring what return you are getting for the effort you are putting into the social media? It is a tricky question. And now the panel's warmed up, they're ready for it. So who wishes to go first on this? How do you measure ROI on your platform? It's it's up to you which order you go. Okay, Archana, well done.
On Twitter, it's actually pretty easy. So they have their own insights which you can use. But besides that, there are third-party analytic tools as well, like Union Metrics provide that, or like, for example, using an app like Tweet Reach, you can actually find out how many people it reached. And I was like pleasantly surprised by the numbers. You would think probably 60 people would have retweeted you, or 150 people would have liked you. But when you look at the impressions, sometimes it's like 100,000. So you have these, tools by which you can see the ROI. Also, because you have TweetDeck and other by which you can schedule. So you are not necessarily on the media all the time. So you kind of spend like half an hour or 1 hour scheduling it, and then you go back and check, okay, what has been the engagement? You check the timing, you check the day times, because apparently Monday does very well. Weekend is probably not the right time, you know. Weekend you will get engagement very less, but Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they're very good when it comes to engagement. Afternoon time, like if you'll post something in the morning, you'll not get as much engagement as you'll post it like around lunchtime or after lunchtime, or say around 7:30. 7:30 is the time when it really does well, between 7:30 to 9:30. So you get all these tools if you use just study Twitter analytics or the third party, and you'll see actually it is not much of an investment. It is a good ROI, I would say.
Yeah, just before the next answer, last year, for those who saw my speech, I talked about the law of diminishing returns on the social media. It's an economics term. I did study economics at university and didn't complete it, so there you go. That tells you something. But it was interesting that for every hour you put in, you reach a point where the extra effort is not worth it. And we've noticed at the Travel Camel, I think it's about 20-odd hours a week. So there's two of us, Maureen and I. It's about 20 hours a week. Once we get past that 20 hours, that extra investment in time is just not worth it. The return is there. It's those first few hours in each of the platforms. And it's also important to know that you don't have to be on every single platform. It's a common myth that you've got to be everywhere at once. No, just choose 2 or 3. Choose these 3 and Facebook. That's all you've got to do. Just choose several and really work at it. So Twitter takes the most time. Next one would be Instagram for us, and LinkedIn needs to be more because it's vital here. So just be aware that you can invest the time, and you reach a point where your investment in time plateaus. And when it plateaus, that's enough. Don't spend more time on it. So we'll head on to you, Sally.
Yeah,
then.
I'll just be quick on this, but ROI in any other sector of your business, have a very clear objective. So what are you trying to achieve when you're putting all this time into, say, Instagram, for instance? So are you trying to drive people to your website? So if you are, track it. Put a bit.ly link into your profile so that you know how many people. And actually, it's not a very good platform for converting to visits to websites, actually. But if you're doing that, maybe put a link tree, a landing page that you can direct that traffic to. Or you may just be putting a shop window, almost an online brochure. Someone like MyVo does this very well. It's all user-generated content, and it all looks absolutely beautiful. So it's almost like their online brochure. And I think it can be used as a customer service tool. That's another way. So it depends what you're trying to achieve, is how you measure your return on investment.
It's interesting. There's a survey done on what social media, what people use, and there's various goals. Awareness was the biggest one. Sales was important, but not as big as awareness. And the other one was customer complaints, dealing with customer inquiries. And there are certain brands out there. Twitter is particularly strong at this. And the example I always use is have a look at American Airlines. Have a look at how they handle their Twitter. They must have a room full of people with this number of people handling their Twitter. It's amazing. They will give, if someone will complain and say, oh, the plane's not pushed back, what's going on? They will actually contact the people at the airport and get the answer and tweet it back to them. And they'll say, oh, you're going to push back in 15 minutes, or we're just de-icing the plane or something. It's amazing. So it depends on your purpose. And it is found, and Twitter did research on this, that people who respond to complaints on Twitter, it actually increases the likability of the brand, and people are tempted to spend more with that brand as a result. So people think complaints are a bad thing. No, they're actually an opportunity, and you can turn that to your advantage. So that the goal is very important, and that means over to who has spoken. Yes, it's you. Over you on LinkedIn.
So ROI for LinkedIn, to go back to what I first said, is everyone's on LinkedIn for professional growth and more and better opportunities, right? So how you can measure if it's working is, are you getting invitations to connect from professionals that might be a little bit more expert than you in advance. Can you reach out to them to grab coffee and they're willing to do so? That's how you know if the content that you are delivering is of value and people see that. So the impressions are also pretty easy on LinkedIn. If you go into your activity, you can click and you can see the reach, how engaging it is. You can also check how many people are viewing your profile, and it will show the graph based on your activity. But to go back to always be doing value is the ROI is, are you increasing your social capital? That's why you're on LinkedIn, to make a bigger network so you can get better opportunities and more professional growth.
Yeah, and just something on here, there are certain brands that seem to really do their LinkedIn well. I see 1, 2, 3 orange tags, which is the Intercontinental Hotel Group. It is interesting when one of them comments, someone else from the group's going to comment on that comment. And you think, well, that's really stupid, isn't it? Why are you commenting? No, it's actually very clever, because each member of the group will have connections the other person doesn't have. And therefore, it suddenly increases. Air Canada do this very well. You get someone from Air Canada commenting, and then everyone from Air Canada comments. They're just talking amongst themselves. No, they're not. They're making me aware. They're making me aware because I may know one person, but not the other person. And that comment the second person gave is my connection. The first person's not. And I see them. And it sounds incestuous in a way, but it's actually very effective.
And that's the key to, you get your network's network. So when you respond, then LinkedIn allows the other networks to see, even if you're not connected. That's the gradual increasing of your capital.
Okay, we're going to ask for questions from the audience. So it's time for the microphone to come out. We'll take questions. We've only got 12 minutes of the session to go. So who will raise your hand? Who is interested in asking a question of our illustrious panel? Hands up. Down at the front here. Do you know what? I was going to say it's probably quicker to give you my microphone, but we've got a fast walker here, so it's all good.
Hello. I have a question because mastering one's social media can be very stressful. How do you make sure you stay sane?
How do you stay sane? Because mastering social media can be really stressful.
Well, back to what Shane said is, pick a couple, don't pick all of them. I think I've noticed this when companies or people try to be everywhere and do everything, you can't keep up, and it really dilutes the quality of your content. So for me, it makes sense to be on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn more so than any other platform. So that's what I focus on. And so I think if you do your target audience where they are and pick your top 3, it's way less stressful and you can properly build, and it's quality over quantity.
Just to...
This is interesting because I think of all the time pressures, you have the most here, Archana, because you seem to be on a lot of social media, particularly. So I'm interested in how you answer this, because you always seem to be your Facebook group, Instagram, Twitter. It's this constant stream I see from you. So how do you handle it? One person doing this.
See, whenever I do anything, I always go back to the basic question, which is what, why, how. What is it that I want to achieve? Is it a short-term goal? Is it like some kind of brand promotion which is coming, or some kind of announcement I need to make? If that is my objective, probably I'll spend more energy on Twitter because it's more topical. Versus if it is like a long-term brand building kind of a stuff, I'm probably going to be more on Instagram because it's going to be there on my feed for a longer time, and LinkedIn. So first is defining what, right? And then why. Why are you doing it? Are you doing it because your competition is there? No, not at all. You have to answer why are you doing it? What's the motivation behind that, and how? Like, what is your strategy going to be? Like, are you gonna be, is it a video thing that you're gonna focus more on video? Is it a caption thing? Are you looking for some kind of, engagement with the audience where you are asking them some kind of question? So if you answer these 3 questions, your social media strategy is nothing. If you say, for example, when I was in Romania last year and we were working for Romania destination, so until now, probably most of the people would think Romania is a place for Dracula, right? That's what. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what. That's the first thing that comes to mind, right? So yeah, our immediate task was to bring Romania in the consideration set of the audience. And that's why show them a picture which is not of Dracula, which is like of the landscape, which is of the culture. So first is identifying what you're doing, why, and how you're going to do it. So just that, if you focus on that, you'll be sorted. And that's a principle which you should apply in everything, not just social media. Anyway, just go back to basics. That's it.
My quick tip is to go into your settings on your iPhone, go through all that app list and switch off all notifications.
Agree.
So that you're not being driven by it, because the red dot has been designed so that you respond to it. Just make time to go in when you want to go.
This is what we learned. So for those who don't know, I'm a new parent. My daughter's 1 year and 2 days old. She's kind of the apple of my eye. And we decided that at home, because I work from home, all my apps, there are no updates that appear on my phone. I have to physically go in. So that demand, watch me, look at me, is gone. And it makes such a difference. So you are in control instead of the app controlling you. That is, we're a like mind. I didn't know you did that as well. I've turned all my notifications off. Fantastic. Another question. We have time for one more question from the audience, I think. One more question right at the back, which means you've got to go all the way to the back. Sorry about that. And then at the end of the second question, we're going to get one tip from each of you. One tip on your one piece of advice for each of your platform to finish up. So next question, sir.
Thank you for the advices, all of you. It has been great. One question for you. Where I come from, Tanzania, Facebook is very prevalent. How do you look for the ROI for Facebook?
Okay, the ROI, if you're from Tanzania,
Yes.
well, I'm based in Kenya, and I know that Facebook in Kenya is enormous. You have businesses there. For example, there's a lot of entrepreneurs who are local who will they sell clothes, retail. They only have a Facebook page. They have no website. And in a lot of countries in there, it's the same. So Facebook is enormous. It's pretty much, who is a very good user of Facebook here? The reason we didn't have Facebook on the panel is I had Khalid from Facebook yesterday, which is why we didn't discuss it today. Does someone want to quickly answer a Facebook one?
I think with the algorithm and the way Facebook's going, if you can set up groups are the way to go.
Yeah, groups. Actually, the person who set up a very good engagement group, Archana. Tell us how you did it.
Okay. So basically how I use Facebook is there are multiple things that I have. So I have a Facebook group. I have my own page and I have my own profile. Plus, I also post in other groups. The benefit of group is, the people are very, very active and they really, really follow you. Like if you post one picture, they'll be asking, they'll be following you, and live videos. They really, really do well. So, and this was by Facebook. They said that if you're doing a video, if you're doing a live video, don't do it less than 10 minutes. 10 minutes might sound a big video, but there are people jumping in and jumping out. So if you have a 10-minute video, you get far more greater number of people who are watching you. So, group might start with a smaller number, but ultimately that is a big one. For example, on the page, I have like around 150,000 fans and followers. But my engagement is not so great because, Facebook is not going to promote it unless you put the money there. But group is something they get the notifications. So your profile also get the notification. So if you want to invest your time, invest in your group or in your personal profile. Page, have it there. It's important from the brand's perspective because for brands, it still matters how many fans and followers you have. So it's not one thing. You have to concentrate on all the 3-4 things. And don't use Facebook groups to just put your content there. Converse, have a conversation, make it two-way. If you ask a question, even if you're posting something, end it with a question. Give something for them to interact with you. I don't know I answered your question or not.
Was that? Do you want a supplementary question? Yeah. Supplementary question. Could the microphone head back? If the microphone could head back to the gentleman, please. Just one quick thing. If you're ever going to do live video or any video, do not rely on your phone's microphone. I have this. So whenever I do live video or any video, I plug it in. It's a headset, just like you do for a video call, like a Skype call or WhatsApp. Do not rely on the camera's phone, and especially if you're pointing the camera the other way, it uses the mic on the other side, and you sound like you're echoing from a distance. So it doesn't cost much to get one of these. Be professional. Follow-up question, sir. No, you're fine. It answered your question. I get a thumbs up. Well done. Well done. We're just about to finish. We're only 3.5 minutes away. Must finish on time. So now, ladies, the question for each of you, the one piece of advice to help someone master their social media on their platform. Let's start with Archana on Twitter. The one piece of advice.
Okay, be original. People follow you for your originality, you know, and people who follow you, they just don't leave you. Like, I remember I have communities where I used to be big time into sports, especially football. And now, because travel has taken the lead, so football is kind of become secondary, but those people still follow my passion because they've seen it. So whatever you are doing, be original, have your own style added to it, and give information which a person can use. Don't make it about just me, 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 me. It has to be something for somebody as well, and make it conversational. So 3 things: be original, make it conversational, and I've forgotten the third point. Sorry.
Okay, we'll give you time to think of the third point, and we'll go on to Jessica, please. Your one tip.
Sure. So, as I mentioned in my presentation, I think this is for life in general, but also as a professional. One of my favorite quotes is, be a fountain, not a drain. So, help someone before you are asking for help. When you do that and you're there to help people professionally, or, you know, let them know if they're interested in this content, you will organically become an influencer and gain trust from people as a resource. Once you do that, people start paying attention a lot more what you're saying. So in life, but especially professional, help someone before you help yourself, and be a fountain, not a drain.
Isn't it the Beatles song, the love you take is equal to the love you make, isn't it? That's kind of similar. My favourite group of all time.
Yeah, Jessica should have ended on that one, because I can't really top that. So I hear to that. So on Instagram, especially as a brand, I would say try and be personal. Obviously, ads are going into our feeds at the moment. A lot of brands are advertising on Instagram. And I scroll past them as quickly as possible as a consumer, because it's almost, oh, lovely, lovely Instagram, bing, brand ad. And it's so out of kilter with the rest of the platform. And a lot of brand posts are they're just not, they don't look right on Instagram. So obviously you can't be so personal, like as a brand that you're sharing the nitty gritty of everything. But you can have the behind the scenes, something about the people involved, something that you're having a conversation with a person rather than a brand, a resort, a hotel. That would be my takeaway.
You wanted to say something?
Can I just say one more thing? I think across channels, everyone gets stuck with starting. Everyone says, oh, well, I'm not an influencer. What do I have? Start with content that inspires you or you think is quality from someone else. Just start sharing. And once you start doing that, you'll get a little bit more confident of what are people responding to. But across channels, just start and share stuff that inspires you and you think other people need. And it will eventually pay off. That's what I think.
Excellent. So our panel, for those, there's Digital Influencer, the Speed Networking is on Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Archana, you're there? Yep. Sally's there. So if you want to know what that third point is, Archana could remember, you can ask her there, which is excellent. If you wish to contact me at any stage, there's my contact details. My phone is only in Dubai. Once I go back to Kenya, I'm not going to be answering calls from you. But I've chosen these 3 panelists here to be on this panel because I respect them enormously in their field. And I want everyone here to give a wonderful round of applause. Archana, Jessica, and Sally. Give them a round of applause. And the final of the sessions is on tomorrow at 4:15. We're looking at successful social media influencer partnerships. Oh, 2 of the panelists are in the room. Ferry, you're from Rotana. You'll be taking from a hotel's perspective. Tweemy, from the influencer perspective, will be talking here at 4:15 tomorrow. We all sincerely thank you for coming here and giving us your time. And we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, and enjoy the rest of your ATM. Thank you very much.